Hey YouTube, now we come to the last Aqua Force deck profile that I'll be featuring on this channel. Probably won't be doing anything with Aqua Force for a long time after this. But in this one, we're going to be doing the Ripple deck, which is probably the one that most people are complaining about right now, because it is a really good deck. There's a lot of different ways to build this deck. This one is actually going to be based off of the one that topped in the Japanese meta. So those that are familiar with the more common Ripple Rush deck, which only runs like, I think, what, like 3 or 4, no, what, like 4, or somewhere between 4 to 6 grade 3s, some weird number like that. But anyway, this deck doesn't really focus too much on the grade 2 game, but it does have the ability to play that game. But if you're up against like Sanctuary Guard, for example, or even like Minerva or Tetra Drive, because Tetra Drive is now a thing again, or even Maelstrom, this deck can hold its own. It can go into grade 3, it can do a Legion play and stuff like that. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So start off for Genovius. Now the deck that topped only ran 3 of him, but I really don't like decks that run 7 grade 3s. I don't really, especially Legion type of decks like this. This is potentially a Legion and a Ride Chain deck. So Genovius, he was always one of those Vanguards from back in the day that I could tell he had potential. A couple people that played Aqua Force back then, when Transcore came out and Revan came out and this guy came out, BT11 with Dauntless Drive and the Ancient Dragons, back in Break Ride format was just starting. Genovius was one of those cards that you could tell he had potential, because his effect is, his Lone Break effect is Counterblast 2 at the end of the battle that he attacked. If the number of Aqua Force rear in your front row is 3 and they're all rested, 3 rested units, you can Counterblast 2, Persona Blast one of him, and then you restand all your rear guards. So that's like all 5 rear guards restand. So the hilarious thing is, if you have a Stacia behind the Vanguard, it can potentially attack again too. But this deck doesn't run her, so that's besides the point. So overall, pretty good Ride Chain Vanguard. And then the other grade 3 is Rolling Ripple, Mid Lattice. So this guy, when he's placed on V, you can Counterblast 1, look at 3 cards, search for a Ripple, add it to your hand, put the rest in the drop zone. So the nice thing is to dump stuff in the drop zone to help speed up the Legion more easily. That's an attempt to power creep Legion to be more on par with Striding in terms of the speed. And then when he attacks, if he's in Legion and you have 3 or more units that are rested in the front row, you can choose one of your rear guards, stand it, and countercharge 1. Then if you have 3 or more in the back row that are rested, you can draw a card. So very good Legion to go with Genovius. So just really, really good duo there. For the grade 2s, for the Ride Chain card, I am running only 3 Rising Ripple Pavroth. I feel like 3 is the ideal number. I think 4 is too many, mainly because at 4, I mean, this guy on the rear guard circle, he's not going to do much, and you kind of want to misride into this guy. And we'll go over a reason why. The reason why is, actually, still talking about Pavroth. Pavroth is really good because in the grade 2 game with the Ride Chain, he is a 10k, so he can potentially hold his own. He can't be attacked by random 9ks on the opponent's side. And when his attack hits, you can restand a rear guard and it gets 3k, so he can help you get a lot of attacks in. So only 3 copies because I am running 4 Tidal Rescue Sea Turtle Soldier. So this is a card that came out in Catastrophic Outbreak back with Tetra Drive and Tile Assault and Wheel Assault and, you know, those guys. This card was mostly forgotten, but what it does, it helps you fill the field really fast, unless you get really unlucky and you keep on revealing like triggers in grade 3s. But basically, you want to ride this guy as a Vanguard. Reveal the top card. If it's a grade 1 or 2 Aqua Force, you can call that card to R, otherwise you shuffle the deck. So you kind of want to use this guy to misride on purpose, so you can stack the field early, and you can potentially get this guy as the Vanguard 2 by misriding on the grade 1. So 4 of him is really a must-do in this deck. One thing I like about this deck is that it does actually run a really, really weird lineup you wouldn't expect to see in Aqua Force deck. This deck is actually not about getting 4th battle at all. It doesn't care. It's more about just getting like 3 standard attacks plus some extra random attacks from standing up things. So next we run 4 Unruly Ripple Lapis. When he attacks, if you have 2 or more units of Ripple that are arrested, he gets 3k, so he gets 12k for the Ripples. That's the way I think of him. And then that's it for grade 2s. For grade 1s, 1 Quintet Wall. So the deck that I based this deck off of was running like 4 Quintet Wall. I think that's just too YOLO, and I feel like for me I would never run more than 2 Quintet Wall. But I still feel like Perfect Guards are still better, so I'm just running 1 Quintet Wall and 3 Perfect Guards. You can run 2 Quintet Wall if you want. You can run 3 if you want. It's up to you. This is just my take on the deck, so I'm just running the 1 Quintet Wall and the 4 Perfect Guards. And then next up is 4 Silent Ripple Soterio. So this is the most important part of the ride chain. You want to be able to ride this guy. If you don't ride this guy, it's not the end of the world, but it does kind of make it harder to make the deck really, really shine. So basically, you want to ride this guy so you can search top 7, search for either Genovius or Pavroth, and then on the next turn, hopefully you would have this in your hand. That's why you run 4 of it. You would ride this thing on top of him, and by misriding, then you look at the top 7, search for Pavroth, then you ride Pavroth, but this guy's effect still queues up, so he'll still activate his effect to then reveal the top and call something. So that's just how the ruling on that card works. So that's why Pavroth at 3 is really good enough, and I would run 4 of this instead of 4 Pavroth, because this card later in the game, this guy's a lot more useful than Pavroth. So next, another very important card in the deck is Flash Ripple Cestius. He helps you fix the soul, so Genovius can go from 10 to 11. He helps you fix the soul so that Pavroth can go from 9 to 10. Just lots of things. Like he helps fix issues with the ride chain just completely failing. So that's why we run 4 of him. And then 2 Penguin Soldier. I feel like 2 is the best number. I think 3 is kind of overkill. Unless your deck is focusing more on the Legion play, you're not really playing the grade 2 game a whole lot, then I can see this guy working at 3 copies. But for me, 2 is enough. It's my 2 open spots. So Penguin Soldier used to be featured in a lot of my Aqua Force decks, so it's nice to see him again in probably the weirdest one. For the zeros, for the triggers, 4 draw, doesn't matter what draw. Ideally, you can run Malika if you want. I'm not running her because I only have 8 of her, and they're both, like, all of them are in other decks. Then 4 Ripple of Demise Oris. This is their critical trigger. It has a pretty decent effect too. So you just run it because it's Ripple. And then 4 of the Jet Ski Rider. You gotta run Jet Ski Rider because he's from BT11 with Genovius and all those guys. And then 4 Ice Flow Angel. Same reasoning. He's from BT11, Seal Dragons Unleashed. He works with Genovius. And then Starting Ripple Alex, because it's the ride chain and his Ripple. Very self-explanatory. I mean, even if you Soul Blast this with the Penguin, him and the grade 1, you Legion, if you don't have any triggers, you can Legion him back in the deck. He's a Ripple card, so he'll work. For Strides, we run 1 Madhu because it's a Legion deck. Genovius is 10k. 1 Tidal Bore because the highest, I mean, you can have the Vanguard attack last on the Stride turn, doesn't really matter. But the main, okay, I guess we'll 1 Aristotle, he doesn't care what battle he attacks on either. Actually, no, he's 3rd attack also. So, these two, you kind of have to attack last of the Vanguard, but whatever. The main card, though, the main Vanguard or Stride unit is Surging Ripple, Protomos. So, either 3 or 4 of this is enough. 3, it's just like with the Maelstrom. And that 1 Mega Colony thing, because he doesn't have to unflip until his attack hits. So if with 3 copies, if they block it, you get a second chance to go into him again, and then be able to still be able to use the effect. With 4, you can use it potentially up to 3 times. Whatever. I mean, there's not a whole lot of other things that they need to run. The last card I put in was Blizza. Socrates is pointless because your Vanguard usually your Vanguard will either attack 3rd on the stride turn, which should be better off using either of these guys, or it'd probably better to get Madu if you're in Legion. So, but usually this guy's the go-to guy. So that's basically it. Let me know what you guys think of the ripples in general. I really don't think Butcher was going to be able to do anything to them. There's still ways around it, although there are some decks that just kind of crash and burn against them. And it's funny how this deck can play that grade 2 game for so long and so successfully. So, hope you guys enjoyed that video, and as always, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks.